What's going on, guys? I have a very special guest on today. But before we dive into this, if you haven't called your leads back today, stop watching this. Go call your leads. Catch the playback because money comes first. But amazing guest, Taylor, my man, has been on our program for a month or so now. Has seen some great results. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. I'm not.
Yeah, it's been about 5 weeks. I think 5 full weeks roughly.
Beautiful. So 5 full weeks. Has seen great success. Wanted to have him on. He's at our trainings every single Tuesdays and Thursdays, adding a lot of value and extracting as much value as he possibly can. But I wanted to have you on, Taylor. And maybe before we dive into it, maybe you give a brief history of like who you are, where you came from, what got you into the industry, how long you've been in it, and maybe your experience before joining the syndicate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been a long journey that even brought me to life insurance, to begin with. But, I was kind of like an entrepreneur. I had a few different ventures that I had in the past, in real estate, tech, and in also like large commercial agriculture. Learned a lot of hard lessons, bit off way more than I could chew, and experienced some major failures. And that's kind of actually what put me into this industry. Is I decided, try something new. And it's actually my mom who, she's in the syndicate too. She's awesome. And she was doing this for like a year before I started. I was like, well, my mom's making all this money doing this. I could probably do that too. So that's what I decided to do. So I jumped into it. And then, it's been almost 2 years now, but, I have an amazing mentor, Ben Rader. The guy is just top notch. I mean, he's just an amazing person, but I actually struggled a lot, especially for my first year because, I don't know, just being like an entrepreneur, like trying to find an easier way of doing things. Like, it was almost too simple, have enough lead flow, put in the activity, and like have a good mindset and you'll become successful. And to me, I didn't really take his advice at the beginning. And I was like trying to like learn how to generate my own leads and do this type of lead and that type of lead, or maybe something's better over here, maybe something's better over there. And I really just kind of struggled at like, kind of like stuck in 8 to 10 grand land, or like, 10 to 14 grand land. It's kind of like a mediocre agent for a long time, until I just had like a major mindset shift where I realized everything Ben had ever told me was right. I mean, he actually tried to get me to start doing live transfers with you back in like last April. It all hit me all at once, everything I'd been doing wrong and really what it takes to become successful in this business. And that was right before I decided to jump in with you guys, like a month before that. And so everything just kind of happened at once, and then things have just taken off for me from then. As soon as I realized, well, there's a proven formula. Everyone who's ever become successful in the life insurance industry did the exact same thing to become successful. And I'm not special. So
I think a lot of people struggle with that, or they get into this analysis paralysis of how do I make this automated?
Yeah.
How do I remove myself from the equation?
Yeah.
But then ultimately, and some things work, you can automate a lot. But what are you going to trade off for value of selling you? You know what I mean? Because ultimately, everybody can sell a policy. It's how you sell and deliver yourself, right? Mm-hmm. What's been, I guess, the biggest hurdle for you coming on to live transfers? Maybe not taking them before. What was the biggest hurdle in the beginning for you?
So taking on live transfers, the pro first, real quick, the easy part of it was actually a breath of fresh air, because I started out door knocking direct mail, and then I went into dialing outbound. And I actually one of those people that genuinely really dislikes dialing. I need to call my leads. That's probably what I'm the worst at. I don't like dialing. So actually having calls coming to me was like, dude, this is amazing. This is so amazing. I love this. But the biggest hurdle was I spent like a whole year learning a whole like sales methodology from a completely, other, way of selling. And I invested thousands of dollars into sales training. And so coming in with a new script and a new kind of like sales method at first, I was like, oh man, I really don't want to have to use this script. But then I was like, you know what? Look, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to trust the proven processes, and I'm going to do what successful people do to become successful. Your YouTube channel and every top agent you had on there, they all literally said the same thing. They're like, yeah, I didn't really want to use the script at first, but I did. And then things took off for me. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to skip that step and I'm just going to like trust, and I'm just going to memorize the script and I'm going to do it. And so just coming over that mental hurdle, that was the first thing. But I didn't really let it stop me. I just basically took a lot of time memorizing the script, and it was just like up from day one. So
and I know we just kind of spoke about it, but and that's kind of the biggest hurdle that you had, but what are the day-to-day problems that you probably experience that inevitably are going to come with any program that maybe deterred you in the beginning, but now you're kind of understanding like these things happen and carry through? Is there anything in that realm of problems that you've overcome, or now are just like, I know how to handle it?
I mean, like anything, like mindset, having if your mindset is off for one day, then your whole day can be ruined. But if you have so just realizing like, one call is one call, one day is one day, and like move on. But yeah, I mean, there's some technical difficulties with anything. So, there was a couple of technical difficulties with the CRM, but that really, like, I totally get it. That actually didn't really annoy me. And so that was probably the only thing, was just like, I know you guys were switching over to a new system, but I didn't experience any interruption in call flow, or like actually having amazing conversations and actually being able to put in work and like help people get policies. So yeah.
We have a lot of people that come in that struggle with people with current coverage already.
Yeah.
Is that something that you struggled with too? And
I love it when I find someone who already has a policy. That's like a gold mine, because most of the time, since I am a broker, I have the ability to find you the most amount of coverage at the cheapest.
We can do it here.
Half the time it's like Lincoln Heritage or Globe Life or something like that, and it's just like, oh man, it's just like easier to help them, into a better spot. But yeah, I guess maybe some people, some agents, they might be thrown off. The thing is that, I would rather get an objection rather than them just hang up on me, because half the time or more, that those like the first couple of objections they give you, that's just a smoke screen. I've had people tell me, oh, I'm already covered. I'm not interested. I don't even know why they kept me on the line. I didn't even fill anything out. And I kept probing and figuring out, a little bit about them and their situation. And then by the end of the call, they're thanking me for helping them get covered.
and a lot of people will take that first initial objection of like, or smoke screen of like, I don't know why they're transferring me, get me off the phone, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
They did fill out a form. Dude. They did spend a decent amount of time with their agent. I mean, carry through that, right?
What happens when you get a call from some random person in the middle of the day? Dude, you're in the middle of something. You don't want to, you're inside, you don't want to have to think about it. You're like, no, sorry, I don't have time right now. I'm busy. It's just like a knee-jerk reaction. And, really, it's actually something they've probably been thinking about for years. They're already, 68 years old. And it's just
they don't want to talk about it just this minute.
Yeah, come on. That's been their knee-jerk reaction for the last 15 years. Just someone that's like, look, I really actually care about you and your family. I've had clients pass away. I've had people that that just happened in December. I met with a guy, and actually I was training one of my agents and just to do some in-home stuff. And so I did like a week of in-home again, met with this guy in his house, and he basically was like not really sure if he wanted it. He wanted to think about it. He wanted to get the policy in the mail first and look over it, and noticed a chargeback. And so I called him up, and his granddaughter answered. He's like, yeah, he died like literally 2 days after I was there, bro. He literally died. He would have been able to get day one coverage through SBLI Preferred, and he didn't take it. So he died, and his granddaughter, who I spoke to, was left without any money or any coverage. So this stuff happens all the time. So it's like thinking about that. It's like, look, I know you don't want to think about this, Mary, but like I've seen the dark side of what happens when you don't have any coverage in place and your family's left holding the bag. So, I'm not like that. I'm like not mean about it, but that's just where I'm coming from. Like I actually care about these people.
Well, you have to get it on an emotional level. And I think where agents get wrong is they try to sell life insurance on a logical level. And and just even go back to the current coverage situation. A lot of agents, as soon as they hear somebody has current coverage, they go, well, what kind of policy was it? How much are you paying, etc. And that just turns it into a logical sale. You haven't built any relationship or any reason as to why you should be the guy in charge with it, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes back to like, if you're not able to get to the truth of the conversation, which is the sad reality of like they might their kids might have to deal with funeral expenses that they normally wouldn't have had to if we get this covered. And no truthful conversation, nobody wants to have that conversation. Dude. Nobody wants to have that conversation. So you have to obviously bring it in a tone that's soft, but then get to the emotional level, because that's where sustained change is, right?
This is what I love about the life insurance business is it forces you, if you want to succeed, it forces you to actually become a better person in every area of your life. You have to become a better person with time management, with self-discipline, with your mindset. But another thing that's huge is you actually have to become more of a selfless person. Where if you genuinely are trying to put them first and you really do care and you're not thinking about your commission, it actually comes across over the phone, and like they actually want to talk to you. If they can like, if you genuinely are just thinking about them and their situation, even if they give you a smoke screen, they can feel that you actually care about them. But like, obviously, if you're like thinking about making a sale or just getting a commission, like you're just going to have commission breath and it's going to push them away. So really, like what you were like, yeah, like really kind of diving more into their situation and about them, that just changes everything.
So let's talk about some results. Let's talk about the meat and potatoes here, Taylor.
I love
you've been crushing.
I love meat and potatoes.
You've been crushing it. Let's speak to some of the results that you're seeing, day to day. From what I'm seeing, at least 1 to 2 apps a day. Sometimes you might strike out, but let's talk about the results and the ease of predictability that this might have brought into your business. I might be completely wrong, but what type of results have you seen from this program, and where do you feel you still have left to go?
It's been amazing, man. I've been, anywhere from maybe one, I think there's only been like maybe 3 or 4 days total where I didn't get at least one. Usually I'll get at least 1, 2. There's been days where I've got 3 or 4, even 5. Yeah. And usually, I've been averaging like between 6, to like 8.5, 9K, usually around 7K. I think last week I did like 7,700 AP.
Cool.
And yeah, it has been very consistent. It's been right around the, and I know I can get better. Like I don't even take as many calls as I could be taking. And, I'm still working on some self-discipline stuff. And there's been days when like, my mindset's not right and I don't get a policy just because of that. Like now all of a sudden I'm starting to think about the numbers again. It's like, oh, I got to get this much AP written this week. And I stopped thinking about the client first. And that shows in usually the days that I don't even get a policy is I start thinking about me again.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works. So to me, it's just like a game of mental mastery, like self-discipline, actually show up and take all of your calls every morning or every day and have that positive mindset where you're actually thinking about them and you really truly do care. And so this whole thing of self-improvement for me personally is like a mindset thing.
Yeah. And I think with the unlimited too, though, it does help with mindset because you're not thinking $60 to $50 a call. Somebody hang up, right? You're not thinking about the call price so much, or
exactly
caring. You're just caring with the prospect on the phone.
Exactly. And I love that. I don't even have to think about it. Every day I just turn on the faucet and there's water that comes
Good analogy. Great analogy. Who would you not recommend this program to?
I would say I wouldn't recommend it to people who are afraid who are still afraid to invest in their lead flow, invest in, the money that they're going to be making in the future. Really, that's what all leads are. And people who have a mindset where they'll easily blame something other than themselves for their lack of success doing anything. And then also, you have to, like, I've heard other people saying it's true. Like, objections to me aren't even objections anymore. So my whole mind frame around objections is different than I feel like a lot of people in the industry have, or a lot of agents. But to me, an objection isn't really objections, but, like objection handling, like not being so easily pushed off the phone just because someone says, like, their first couple words to you is that, they don't want it and I don't even keep them on the phone. But if you're genuinely trying to find out about them and their situation and, like, So like if something did happen to you, like, who would be that person responsible for having to, I guess, pay for everything? You know what I mean? Like just finding out a little bit about, yeah, like
the tonality is perfect, guys.
Yeah,
the tonality is perfect.
Yeah. So, if you're someone who is at a point where you realize this business is really as simple as activity and leads and mindset, then you're gonna absolutely crush it. Because Chase, I've worked tons of different leads, and dude, you are doing something different. And you're not paying me to say this. I just genuinely love your leads, and I love what you've created, and I just love your whole business model. Like Mo is amazing. Maddie reaches out to me. It's like you guys actually care. Antoine's always there. You guys genuinely care, and it's a whole community of agents who are crushing it, and it's just so amazing to be a part of.
Well, I appreciate that. And I'm sure they will too.
And there's actually and so another thing about that is there's, all those sayings, you become like the 5 people you spend the most time around. Your network is your net worth. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Well, what's so cool about what you created is you can join a group of agents who are crushing it. And how are you not going to learn how to crush it as well using the exact same proven system they are?
We've had lots of guys and girls that have come in and were just in home and ultimately probably just winging their presentations just because they're in front of somebody. It doesn't need to really be scripted. You can kind of get away with going off topic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been able to take them and now give them consistency. So, and then also have guys that are top producers still be in the same level playing field. So, which is I've seen people that have started from the beginning skip 3 years of bullshit because they were able to just get to the beginning. We actually had one guy sign up. It was his first day of life insurance, and he sold a policy. It's like you just skipped 20 levels, my friend.
That was actually my downline, Colton.
Yeah, perfect. Like, come on, it's that simple.
Yeah.
You just skipped like 20 levels.
Dude,
just went straight to the finish.
And there's not really anywhere else he can go that I know of to be able to do that. You basically provided that.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. If there's one piece of advice that you could give somebody that's starting out or thinking about starting, what would it be?
Like, listen to your mentor. And one thing I did is I literally went on YouTube and I watched like every video I could possibly find from any super high producer or massive agency owner. And they all literally just say basically the same thing that my mentor, Ben, has always told me. It's, this business is a very proven formula, a very simple, it's not easy, but it's so simple. And as long as you invest in enough lead flow to put in the activity that you need to put in, there's no way you can fail.
Awesome, man. Well, I truly appreciate you coming on. I know you got to get back to the phones. We got to make some money today.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you joining, man. You've honestly been a pinnacle of what it means to be an awesome syndicate member. And I wish every client came in with such open mindset, such ability to learn, and then take those and implement. And take our trainings and implement. And you have definitely been the pinnacle of what it means to be an amazing client for us. And I truly, truly, truly appreciate your business, your friendship, and the long-term gains that we're going to have together. So get back to the phones, call your fucking leads, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah. All right. See you later, man.
All right, cheers, man.